Right, welcome back to the second part of the 2 till 4 show with me, Danny Thompson, on a sunny Northampton afternoon. It is great weather out there. Right, in the studios with me, we have, Martin Weaver. He is part of the legendary progressive rock band, which is responsible for the UK's most expensive album. They formed in, was it 1968?
68, yeah.
If you can come close.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
1968.
1968. So, why did you decide to form a rock band?
Well, it was formed by Steve Giles. He's our main star of dark, if you like. He was responsible for writing all the tunes. He's a very clever guitarist and songwriter. And he put the band together at school. I think he was at Northampton Boys' School.
Oh, you went there?
Yeah,
See, great talent comes from Northampton Boys' School for Boys. There you go.
There you go. And so it started life as a three-piece band, and I was drafted in 1971, so I'm a new boy.
You were the new boy.
And I was drafted in just about the time they were making the Dark Round the Edges LP.
Quick question about the actual album cover here I'm looking at. What street was that? Because that looks like the Abington area.
You're quite right.
I am.
Abington Street, I think. Or Ardington Road. It might be Ardington Road.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
I was looking at that before and I was like, I know that, well, not know like the actual street, but those houses, those are sort of houses. There's only two sort of areas. It's either like Duston area or Abington, and I'm guessing it was Abington for some reason.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what were your inspirations in the band? When, what did you all kind of like at the time?
Well, at the time we were listening to things like Hendrix, obviously. I mean, we're going back to '68, so we like the new breaking progressive movement in rock. Not so much pop.
Yeah.
I come from a rock and blues background, so I liked Hendrix and sort of rock bands and things like that. Steve comes from a more progressive, purely progressive, and he's got a different guitar style than me, which is why it works. The band works, Yeah. Okay,
so I read before that. Before you actually split, there were talks with a record company. Was it Island Records or something like that?
Yes,
yeah. Who later, you split, but then they later went on to sign U2.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, we were casting around. We'd made the record, and we were sending tapes off, as you do. And also Bob Harris. Whispering Bob Harris, who was on the Old Grey Whistle test. Now I think on Radio 2, isn't he? He was interested. He liked the band, and his family come from Northampton, and he was interested in getting us signed as well. But we got a potential deal with Ireland that looked like it was going to go ahead, and we were going to be famous. Yeah. But it all fell through, unfortunately, as these things do, and a few other sort of slight sniffs here and there, but nothing really. And the band got a bit disillusioned, and we sort of split.
Yeah. Okay, so you are responsible for the UK's. Makes it sound like it's a bad thing. You are responsible. You are responsible for the UK's most expensive album. So what was the album called?
Well, the album is Dark Round the. Well, it's Dark Round the Edges.
Okay.
And it was funded by the band, really by Steve, bless him, and it became a cult record. An American record producer found it in a flea market in London or somewhere, and he was obsessed with dark, and he tried to find out all about it and track down all the members, and through doing this, it gradually became known that Dark was this new, very early progressive rock band, almost laying the foundations of progressive rock, and we became sort of a legendary holy grail type thing.
Holy grail to the progressive rock.
Yeah, could we track these people down? So and all of a sudden, before we knew it, we were at number 1 in the collectible records,
really?
Above the Beatles and Elvis.
Really?
Dark from Northampton, band nobody's ever heard of, number 1 in the collectible records.
You must have been complete. So how did the album sell for so much? How much did it sell for?
Well, we used to give them away, to be honest. Yeah, and we used to sell them at gigs. It was a very small run, but they started being worth about £1,800 in the quite a few years ago, 10 years ago maybe, and then it got to £3,000, and now it's up to, one's just sold on eBay for £6,000.
Really?
Which is,
how do you feel
unreal.
Having an album that's been sold for so much money?
It's just unreal, because it's quite amazing, and the fan mail we get from all over the world, because of that, it's come out on CD.
Yeah.
And that's distributed obviously worldwide, and we get great fan mail from all over the world.
Do you get sent any weird toys like they do? Not that you can mention on air, maybe.
Well, perhaps stuff that I can't mention on air, yes, but
we'll talk after.
Yeah.
So tell us about this, because you actually are having a reunion.
Yeah.
And it's going to be. Have you like reunited like since you split before?
Yeah, we did a Northampton beer festival 14 years ago.
Okay.
On the island. Yeah.
How long ago was this?
That's 14 years ago.
14 years
That was our
ago.
last gig.
Where was it? On the island.
On the island, down on the by the river,
Near Beckett's Park.
Yeah, that's it. Beckett's Park Island.
I may have been there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember because I remember being.
Look, familiar.
Ah.
You were a bit tipsy, weren't you? As I
It was.
recall.
Yeah. Anyway, so you were down at the beer festival.
Yeah. Yes, and that was our last gig, and that was just after we'd made our second album, which is called Anonymous Days, which we got together in '92, maybe.
Yeah.
And made a second album. Which is completely different to this first album.
Which we'll listen to one of the tracks after the interview. And
because we'd been together and we were sort of fresh and rehearsed, we decided to do the beer festival as a gig, one-off gig.
Okay. So you're going to be doing another gig, which is going to be at the Memories in Pink charity gig. Can you tell us a bit more about the charity?
Yeah. The proceeds are going to the Northampton General Hospital Paddington ward.
Okay.
And it's really a tribute to Carly Giles' life. She died suddenly, aged in her early 20s. We decided to do this gig as a sort of to remember her life.
Yeah.
And it's going to be at the Picturedrome on Friday night.
The Picturedrome Friday night, which the doors open at 7:30.
7:30, yeah.
And do you know about any of the other bands? Are there going to be more bands?
Yeah. There's a DJ on, and there's another band, great young band called The Talks, coming down from Hull, especially for this. And then we're going on afterwards with our Zimmer frames.
Your Zimmer frames. I'm sure it's not like that at all.
They're electric Zimmer frames.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much. We're going to play one of your tracks now. You recommended we play. Was it called The Cat?
Yes.
And this is from that. This is
from the very
legendary album.
Yeah.
It's called The Dark Around the Edges, and the track I'm going to play you. Thank you again to Martin Weaver. Hopefully the gig goes. Oh, I really do hope the gig. I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. And I'm going to be there. Yeah. So it's now 3:20. I'm going to play you this. This is called The Cat. It's from the legendary album from The Dark called Round the Edges. So have a listen to this. Well, there you go. That was The Cat from the legendary band Dark, progressive rock band, and the album was. You know what? I'm all over the place. The album was called Round the Edges, and it is. Adam came down. He said it's about time we had some decent music. Thanks, Adam. Love you too. I tell you what, that was pretty good. That was awesome. That was.